All right, welcome everyone. We're back with another episode of the Be Him Fit podcast. I'm Trevor. This is Brian, and Brian, let's talk about fitness today. What have you got on your mind?
Man, I don't know. Usually we have something planned, some sort of agenda topic we want to discuss, but didn't get around to it this week. It was a busy week. Got a lot going on personally with the family and
Mhm.
work's always busy. So I don't know, man. Maybe we just take the next 20, 30 minutes and just chat about life, about fitness, about whatever. So I'm gonna throw that question back over the table and ask you what's on your mind, fitness
Well,
related.
fitness related. Well, I was wondering. We've talked about a couple of things, but mostly the thing that I was worried about, not worried about, but thinking about is food recently. How do you? Well, let me back up. You see, I don't know if you know who Alan Richson is,
I
or
don't.
uh,
No.
do you know the Reacher series on? If you saw him, you would know who I'm talking
Actor.
about.
Is he a famous actor or what?
He's an actor. He
Yeah.
plays Reacher on.
Oh, the movie Reacher.
No, it's a TV series on Amazon.
Oh, but it also was a video or a movie, right?
Yeah.
Like
So
Reacher. I think I can't remember. Was it Tom Cruise that was
Tom
Reacher?
Cruise was
Okay.
Reacher, and
Okay.
then anyway, an Amazon series that's kind of books and it's really good. But but I saw an interview with him and he's just jacked. Like, it's like I don't really have a diet. I just eat what I want and whatever and.
Yeah. That makes me laugh because you have all these celebrities that are like, oh yeah, I eat what I want and this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because you're paying a private chef and a nutritionist to make all of your meals.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, yeah, I could be in phenomenal shape too if I had somebody going to the grocery store, shopping for me, preparing it, cleaning up after it. It's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, of course. Like you put the food in front of me and it's
Yeah.
somewhat good. Like I can do that.
Right.
But the reality is most of us don't have the luxury of having a professional chef and nutritionist to tell us what to eat. So that's funny. But I mean, I'm just like thinking like I don't really have a diet either, right? Like
Yeah.
about macros on the show before, and I am 100% a proponent of if it fits your macros, right?
Yeah.
For most people, like let's say, unless you were like trying to be a top app, dude, this thing is bugging me. This zoom in and out. Tell me this: Are we like our video isn't on our podcast platforms, is it?
Oh, it's posted to YouTube, so we see it
So
zooming in
people
at
can
you.
see this. God. I need to figure this out because that's embarrassing. So anyway, I apologize those that are watching this on YouTube for the constant back and forth. I'm not technically savvy at all, so I have no idea how to fix it. I'll have to Google it, chat GPT it. But anyway, yeah, I'm a proponent of if it fits your macros, then you can eat whatever you want, unless you're a like forming athlete or you're training for a bodybuilding competition or a show or something like that, right? Then I think there's some benefit to being a little more aware of what it is that you're eating, rather than just you hit your caloric intake goal, your protein, your carbs, your fats.
Right.
And so that's interesting though. And I hear a lot of celebrities say that. Like, and the other thing about celebrities is like there I see all these things on social media where it's like, how do these celebrities change their body composition so quickly?
Mhm.
Chris Pratt, right? I love Chris Pratt. I
Yeah.
love him. I fell in love with him when he was in Parks and Rec, right?
Right.
And now he's like, and what's funny is like when he was in Parks and Rec, he was kind of this dork, goofy, kind of necessarily overweight, but a little chubby and just no
Yeah.
muscle, just kind of funny dude. And now he's like one of the most jacked, highly sought after actors in Hollywood. So it's like, how did he go from this, Parks and Rec state to where he is now? And it's like, I wish I had an answer, some like magic, diet or whatever that these celebrities are kind of best. Because from what I've seen, honestly, it's consistency, right?
Mhm.
It's consistency that will win the race. Slow and steady, I should say, wins the race.
Right.
That's one big struggle with a lot of people, is they want just a quick fix, right? Like they want to just do something for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, and lose this weight or put on muscle and look shredded and jacked or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is like that's not how the body works, right?
Right.
Like it's you have to play the long game when it comes to your body goals and what you want to be. One of the biggest things that I try to do, I'm not very good at it, and it's all relative, it's all your perspective. But like I certain like threshold, of where I want to be in terms of weight, body fat percentage, mental, feeling mentally, emotionally, like all these things play into health. Like I have like this of where I want to be, and I want to stay in that all year round.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs, and maybe sometime I'm going to be a little bit more dialed in with my diet and what I'm eating and doing. There might be times where I have like these, but it's like I know I'm never going to get too far this way. I'm never going to get too far that way.
Right.
And if I can stay in that and have the right programming, the right, comes to fitness and when it comes to eating, sleep, recovery, all those things, if that's all dialed in, I can stay within that range
Right.
rest of my life, really.
Yeah.
It's like I think one thing I have a lot of people reach out, around fitness or whatever it is, like especially when they have something coming up, right? Like I buddy, love this guy to death. I think maybe you've met him. His name's Jared. I think you've played golf with him before. But anyway, he notorious. I love you, Jared. If you're listening, I love you. You're one of my favorites. But he's notorious to reaching out to me with like 6 before he and his family are going on a vacation.
Yeah.
Like I gotta lose weight, I gotta cut, I gotta get jacked. Like, how do I do it? Like, bro, there's so much you can do in that window, right? Like I can help you. You can look a lot better in 6 weeks than you do now. But I think the whole point of bringing that up is most of us like have the we don't play the long game, right?
Right.
We just want like we'll whatever, and then when something comes up that we need to lose weight, a wedding, a certain event, graduation, vacation, it's like we have to just like crash. We have to do all these severe, crazy things, and that's not how it's intended to be.
Right.
You have to be dialed in. You don't have to be eating rice and chicken and broccoli for every single meal to still have a good physique and be in shape.
Right.
Also have to like prescribe I don't know, like the 8-20 rule, right? Like 80% of the time, I'm within a certain range of calories and I'm hitting a certain number of protein and I'm not exceeding that, whatever. And then the 20% of the time, I can indulge. I can go out and have a burger and fries or have some pizza or have some ice cream, birthday cake, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. I think another thing that people struggle with is like the all nothing mentality, right?
Right.
It's like sustainable, like for people, like it's not like for me, for anyone in our family, like there's no way we can just all of a sudden say we're not going to have cake, ice cream, pizza, burgers, like whatever. That's not what we do. And I think that's probably par for the course for most people.
Yeah.
But we also like, so that was again coming full circle. That's why I love if it fits your macros.
Yeah.
Like that's my strategy. That's what I teach all of my clients. I don't ever give a meal plan. I give an example of like what a day in the life of eating would look like.
Yeah.
Of breakfast, here's lunch, here's your snack, here's your pre and post workout, here's dinner. Just so they can kind of feel for it.
Right.
I really want to empower them to learn, to understand, and to be conscious of what they're in, like what they're eating.
Right.
Rather than me just dictate. Because if I have to dictate and I'm telling you to eat these same 7 meals every single day for dinner, that's not sustainable, right?
Right.
So anyway, sorry to ramble on a tangent, but that's kind of what took me.
No, absolutely. That's why I'm that same mentality with my patients. It's like we need a sustainable life.
Yeah.
In vacuum, you could do anything. If all you do is you get up and you work and you stay in the same room and you eat the same things and whatever, and you never go out and you never interact with anyone, like
Yeah.
maybe that would be okay. But gosh, I mean, together for family things. Every time we go down to house, we're eating, you know, good food the mom cooks. And holidays, we've got pie and cake and all of this stuff. And you go out with friends and you go get Buffalo Wild Wings or something. You go out. So how can you shift your mindset to be, said 80% of the time we're doing, and then the other 20% we can indulge a little, not go overboard and just binge, but just, a piece of pie or a little bit of ice cream or something. It's, I guess that's what I teach other people like to teach because of what you have taught me about macros. But it's like, yeah, we to do that because then it's something that you can do. We're giving you the tools to go out and live your life. And if it fits in your macros and meets your goals, then more power to you.
100%. A couple of things I wanted to touch on. Number one, there's a social aspect of eating and going out and having good food. Like, and as human beings, we crave that social connection, right?
Right.
And for whatever reason, maybe it wasn't this way, ago when food was scarce and you were growing everything and it was hard to come by. But in today's day and age, sorry, it's like that it's right there. There's so many good restaurants, there's good food. We can come to, have friends over and make incredible food on your Traeger or your Blackstone or whatever, right? And
Right.
there's social aspect that we all crave. And I think where people get held up or get hold up, where people get, what's the word, held up?
Yeah.
On the right, is that the right word? That doesn't
I think
sound
so.
right.
Yeah.
Where they struggle, where it's challenging is they don't want to give up the social aspect of their lives to stick to a plan or a routine or whatever, right?
Right.
So I think that's where, again, the 80-20 rule comes in, but then also if it fits your macros, right? Like if I know I'm going out with some friends or if I'm going down to mom's house for dinner or whatever, it's like I may not eat anything until dinner at mom's house.
Right.
Because I know that if I were to eat a breakfast, lunch, snack, whatever, and then go to dinner, that's going to put me way over where I need to be calorie wise.
Right.
And so I mean, one strategy, that's one goal, that's one thing you can do. The other is just have smaller portions, right?
Yeah.
Like out to dinner, and it's like, okay, we're gonna go to the Cheesecake Factory, right? I'm gonna get a cheesecake. I can maybe get like the Skinnylicious. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of menu,
Right.
like something that's not as high in calories.
Right.
So that you can then have a piece of cheesecake, or and even if you get the piece of cheesecake, right, you don't have to finish the whole thing, right? Like a few bites or share it with somebody, whether it's your significant other, or whatever, right? Like there's a
Right.
lot of strategies where you can stay in a good place. And I think again, going back to the 80-20 rule, I mean, that's perfect for most people, unless you have a specific goal, unless you want to like drop fat or get in incredibly good shape, show ready, like prep shape, like
Yeah.
it's like let's say I'm, is 3,000 calories, let's say, right?
Yeah.
One day I'm at 28, the next day I'm at 32, and then I'm at 25, and then I'm at 3,500 calories. Like I'm constant,
Yeah.
right? Like I haven't gained any weight
Right.
on thermodynamic or thermoenergetic dynamics, right?
Right.
Calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's where a lot of people get held up and or caught up, I should say. That's the word, caught up. They get caught
Yeah.
up is trying to be perfect. And the reality is that's not sustainable. No one's going to be like very few people in this world will be able to do that.
Right.
And so it's a matter of like just staying within those thresholds and being smart and maybe even a little strategic throughout the day or throughout the week based on what you have coming up and what your plans and goal your
Right. Okay. I just had this thought. This is a dumb thought, but maybe not a dumb thought. It's just something that I've wondered about. But to kind of groundwork, um, home you can be a little bit more, you know, what you're eating. You to a restaurant, using butter and fats and stuff, and that's what makes it taste good.
yeah.
But you can cook at home. I can cook a steak at home and be just happy, it may not be the best steak you've ever eaten in your life, but have some, potatoes or whatever you want with it, and you can dial out the portions or whatever. But this is the question I had. So we've talked about how of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories.
Yep.
Is that specifically like weight? Like if I took a went and got a steak and put it on there and it said, okay, you've got, grams, and it was 40 grams of steak. Is that 1 to 1? Is that how they calculate the gram of protein? Or does that make sense? Like, how do you know for sure
Yeah.
what your steak is? I mean, a
No, no,
ribeye is
no.
going to have fat and stuff in it or whatever, but just hypothetically, is
Yeah.
that how it
So
works?
weight does not translate to like grams. Let's keep it simple. Grams in terms of how much weight or mass your food is.
Uh-huh.
It's not a 1-to-1 ratio to grams of protein,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
at a steak that, let's just hypothetically said, had no fat on it. Steak by nature has no carbs, so it's just
Yep.
strictly meat, strictly protein. If I add 40 ounces of steak, that's not going to be 40 ounces of protein.
Right.
And honestly, to be transparent, I don't know how they calculate that exactly. Like I have an idea, but for instance, like 3 ounces of, I want to say 3 ounces of chicken,
Mhm.
and I don't know what the grams and ounces ratio is, but 3 ounces of chicken has like 24 protein, chicken breast, right? And so I would imagine that 3 ounces is more than, actually, should we just Google it real quick?
Yeah, maybe let's Google it. Yeah.
Go 2 ounces. So we're gonna go 3 ounces. Yeah, so ounces is 85 grams, right? So if I have 85 grams of chicken on a scale,
Yeah.
that's going to be 85 grams of protein.
Right.
And how they come up with that number, it's an energy thing. There's a formula to it. I don't understand it completely enough to speak to it,
Right.
but I know that it's different, right? And so maybe a good thing, and this is a good, or a tip is like it's important to track your food
Yeah.
and what you're eating, not just by looking on the back of back of the label and seeing how many calories and protein, like that's, but the better way, with now that everybody has a phone, there's so many apps, whether it's Lose It, whether it's MyFitnessPal, that has this incredibly like
Yeah.
yeah, robust repository of foods, right?
Uh-huh.
You can put in 3 ounces of chicken breast and you search it up and it will tell you exactly what the macro breakdown is,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's another strategy that would help a lot of people with their fitness goals, is tracking what you eat. There's
Right.
a guy that I know, his name's Brandon, and he has tracked what he's eaten, like everything. I mean, a little extreme, I'll be honest, like I've done that, nor do I feel like I ever would want to. But anything that he's eaten, he's gone into the Lose It app and logged it for the last like almost years.
Yeah.
And this man is in incredible shape. He's probably about my age, around 40, I would say.
Yeah.
Consistently at probably like an 8 to 9% body fat percentage.
Yeah.
And he looks great. He's incredible. And not everybody wants to be that, your goal or what you're aspiring to be. But no matter what it is, like if you can track, and I think the reason why tracking is important is because it helps you become aware, it helps you become
Right.
conscious of what you're eating, and not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily restrict what you can eat.
Right.
It makes you think, right? And if you
Yes.
get into the habit of like, okay, what I'm having for breakfast, I'm having 4 eggs and I'm having 2 pieces of toast and some butter and some bacon, like
Hmm.
start to think about it, and then you put that into into your app, and you end up, like the pretty high fat content meal, right?
Right.
And so then you become aware, and then you can make better decisions if you say, I want to have a low fat diet or whatever it is, right? Even if it's just calories. Like that's one thing that we don't realize is we probably consume way more than what we like what we think we do. If
Right.
you were to ask the average human, how many calories do you consume a day? I would bet, I don't know, I bet it's upwards of 80%. And this is just a guess. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I would guess, based on my understanding and my experience, that probably 80% of those individuals would say they eat less than what they actually do.
Right.
Therein lies the problem,
Right.
right? That's why we like one of the biggest, like, I want to call it a pet peeve, but one of the biggest frustrations I have as a fitness coach is when people are like, I'm not losing weight. Like I have a fast metabolism. I'm not losing weight. And it's like, well, you may have a fast metabolism. There may be 100 other factors that play into that.
Right.
But the reality is, if we boil it down to its most elementary level, you are eating more than what you're burning.
Right.
And that could be from like, being aware of what you're eating, not tracking the little snacks as you walk through the pantry and you grab a handful of nuts and then you grab some chips and then you have
Uh-huh.
a bite of this and you have a little, like, all those things add up. And so if you aren't losing weight, like, I might sound like mean or and maybe a bold statement, but I would die on this statement. If you're not losing weight, it's because you're not burning more calories than you are consuming.
Right.
And I fall into that. Like, I've been on a bulk for the last little bit, and the last 2 weeks I've wanted to cut, and I haven't lost any weight.
Yeah.
So it's like, because guess what, Brian? Guess what, dummy? You stupid dummy.
Stupid
My
dummy.
family joke. You're eating more calories than what you're burning. So stop eating.
Right.
Be more disciplined. If that's what your goal is, then you gotta make it work. You gotta hit those macros.
Yeah.
So
Like, like about, well, let me just go through my day. If I had a piece of toast, one piece of toast at 5 in the morning, 5:30 with butter.
yeah,
Now, I'm sure like to say that it was probably one, butter or whatever, but I'm sure it was like three. That's our family.
you're a Harris. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
There is our kryptonite.
It is our kryptonite. I want butter to have sunk at least halfway down into the toast,
Oh,
to start, and I want it to, roast and have butter all over my face or whatever. But the point being, like, mine, I'm like, oh yeah, a bread is, 100 calories or 90 or whatever.
yeah.
And, butter is another, 100. So I'm at 200 for the day. I know that I'm not accurate there. I know instinctively I can just, more than a tablespoon. I'm probably at 350 or 400 calories before I even walk out the door, before it's even 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Let me just touch on this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that's another thing is portion control.
Uh-huh.
I realize what an actual portion is of, I mean, like, you just eyeball a cup of rice.
Right.
Like, for me, like, I was shocked when I started measuring rice.
Yeah.
I was like, I like, if rice was this amount, but then when I measured it out, it was like half. That's probably the case for a lot of things. Like case in point, you thought maybe you had a tablespoon of butter, which is 90 to 100 calories, right?
Uh-huh.
But in reality, it could have been two.
Yeah.
You do that consistently throughout your day, you're overestimating or sorry, underestimating what you're actually eating.
Yeah.
And your calories are now over what you should. That's the reality of it.
Like, 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 think of this. So at work, I have a candy bowl on my desk that
Mm-hmm.
I fill up with, for, I don't pay for it anymore. I used to, and then everyone came in and ate it all, and it was gone within 3 days. So now I put it on the company card. But you've got candy on the desk, and then I have like those mini Tootsie Pop suckers in a, mug. I probably had like 20 of them today, you know? You just pull it out, you put it in, and you just do it, and then you take a bite, and then, away, and then a minute later you're doing it again, and I
Yeah.
don't know how many I actually had. And I know that's just pure sugar and fat right there. So like I'm sure screwing up my macros, but then Snickers or a little something else and I don't count any of that. When I think back, I don't think how much, on candy did I have? It's like, oh no, I had toast for breakfast, and home. I got home late and Jane wasn't hungry, so I ordered pizza instead.
Yeah.
So I had two slices of pizza and I had, lunch, which is leftovers from last night. And I don't know how, calorie breakdown and that was, but, excessive. It was just, don't know. And so
Yeah.
I could not say, yeah, I had 2,500 calories or 15 or 12. Like I not paid attention today.
Hmm.
And so I couldn't tell you, you know, but when I think back about it, I'm like, yeah, I didn't eat that much,
Sure.
but you don't actually know. And I think that's where a lot of people fall.
Yeah.
And weight loss clinics, some people don't lose weight even when they're taking the medications, and it's kind of like, okay, go to Starbucks and get the 2,000 calorie drink,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you already lost,
Yeah.
you know?
Like they eat in the morning and you literally have already lost.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you today in terms of, am I going to lose weight today?
right,
Am I going to burn more calories than I consume? And so, yeah, it's being conscious. But one thing that came to mind as you were talking, we've kind of hit trying to lose weight, right? And you're
right,
eating more you're eating more calories than what you're burning, so you can't lose weight. I've got a client right now that's struggling to put on weight. Like he
right,
would do a bodybuilding show and he just can't, he can't, he can't put on mass. He can't gain weight. He's like, I'm super lean. I can, if I don't eat, calories, I'm going to lose weight. And it's like,
yeah,
well, yeah, because you're burning more calories.
right,
So it's the same thing. It's like everything that you're eating,
mm-hmm,
what that is over a consistent period of time, be it a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And then if you truly haven't changed your body composition, you haven't put on weight, you haven't had, more muscle or lower body fat, whatever it is, then it's like, okay, well, we have to start eating more.
right.
You know what I mean? So it goes both ways.
It does, yeah,
So a lot of people that are overweight are like, oh, it's so nice to be a skinny dude, or just, he's, just have a hard time. Like they're just naturally skinny. And I don't think they want to be skinny in a lot of cases. Like
right,
some of them don't care, but like some clients, like this kid, he wants to put on weight.
yeah,
And it's like, okay, bro. Then the reality is even though you think you're eating a lot, you're not.
right,
And one thing that he said today, as we were talking, he was saying, like, some days I eat 2,500 calories and some days I eat 3,500 calories.
yeah,
It's like, answer, man.
right,
25 calories, down, or 35 calories, like over the course of time, isn't going to move that needle. Like you have to be like averaging whatever it is that you burn throughout the week,
right.
And so I think that's I think a lot of people think we're just talking about losing weight, right? Like that's the hard thing, but it goes both ways.
It does.
And to be fair, I would say the majority of humans overconsume,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're constantly chasing that deficit and losing weight and changing body fat composition, increasing mass. So that's kind of a lot of the mainstream fitness conversation goes.
Right.
But it's a simple balance, right? It's an energy balance.
Yeah.
What you earn versus how much you consume.
It's true. And the thing that I've been trying to stress in, other podcast is it's the mindset of,
Yeah.
it's the long game. It's, get your goal, whether that's a, weekly goal or a monthly goal or your weight goal or, stop there. It's something that continues on. I'd say like, begins when you hit your goal because then you have to maintain it. You have to stay there. If I want to be 165 for the rest of my life, that's going to take work.
Yeah.
And as you get older and as, levels, I mean, you've got four kids and they all have their own separate activities and how do you juggle that and work and the gym and your side hustle and your, life and all of these things and, not conscious of it, you could slip. If
Yeah.
fitness wasn't as important to you as it is,
Mm-hmm.
it would be a lot easier for you to just, go to McDonald's tonight because, have time. I went and took Boston to his, or whatever. And then, I want to cook. So I did this. And and then you just consistently fall out of those habits. But if you're conscious of it, if you keep it
Yeah.
in the front of your mind and realize that just because you hit your goal weight doesn't mean that you won, then you need
Yeah.
to, it shifts the mindset to,
Sure.
this for the long term, not just to look good, trip, or not just to, got down to 165 and then I'm back up, it's a long game.
Absolutely. As you were talking, I kind of don't butcher this, but um, there's a quote from Home Alone 2 where Kevin gets found by the bandits, the wet bandits, the sticky bandits now in the second one.
Right.
And I think Marv says, "You may have won the battle, but you've lost the war," or something like
Yeah.
that. Maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know. But that came to mind when you were talking about, goal, right? Like hitting your goal, that's not it. You haven't won the war. You may have won that battle,
Yeah.
but war is lifelong, right? Especially when it comes to fitness and your
Right.
your well-being and your health. Right? I hit a certain goal, whether that's losing weight or that's putting on muscle or whatever it is, being able to run a 7-minute mile. Like it doesn't matter. Once I hit that goal, like that's not the end.
Right.
Like that's like point. Like now I have to shift my focus and what it is that I want to do. If I were able to train and let's say run a 7-minute mile, and I do that, and I'm doing the training every day, losing weight, increasing my VO2 max, et cetera, so that I can achieve that. If I were all of a sudden say, okay, and I stop training, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose that. I'm not going to be able to, in 6 months, if I don't train, I'm not going to be able to go out and just run 7 miles or
Right.
or a mile in 7 minutes.
Right.
So it's like once you get there, okay, great, awesome. You should be proud of yourself. You should celebrate that. But then what? Do you want to maintain a 7 mile? Do you want to be able to run a 7-minute mile for the rest of your life?
Right.
And if that's the case or that's the goal, great. Then what do I need to do? I need to train 2 or 3 times a week, and I need to run. And I need to do this. I need to make sure that I'm keeping my weight in check and my macros are on point. Or it could be, you know what? I want to run a 5-minute mile,
Right.
or I want to take that 7-minute mile pace and run that for a half marathon or a marathon.
Right.
And so it's like once you get to that goal, you have to then shift your focus,
Yeah.
because as I said earlier, is health and fitness is not linear ever.
Right.
You're either increasing, it's either an uphill battle or it's a downhill battle
Right.
based on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so you have to think of it again. We keep coming back to this, but it's the long game, right?
Yeah.
You have to think big picture rather than just this little teeny, I'm in this for 16 weeks and then I'm great. Like one thing well, I don't know, I shouldn't talk crap about this because 75 Hard is a really great program, and Andy Frisella, I think it's Frisella, did a really good job with this. But what I've found with most people that do 75 Hard, and for those that don't know, 75 Hard is a 75-day program where there's certain things where you have to read 20 pages a day, you have to drink a gallon of water, you have to exercise, 2 day. One of those has to be outside. You can't drink alcohol. You have to stick to a certain diet. And he doesn't specify what the diet is. It's just whatever, like you just have to stick to it, right? And you do this for 75 days,
Yeah.
which, and a lot of people, it's life changing for at least for the moment, right?
Right.
For that time. Like a lot of people have done really, really well with it. However, what I've found with most people that I've talked to that have done 75 Hard is as soon as 75 Hard is over, they revert back to what they're doing or what
Yeah.
they were doing before, right? And the reason I bring that up, and I think Andy's done a good job. I think there's like a program you can graduate into
Right.
that kind of is a little more intense and keeps you on that trajectory. But it doesn't matter if it's 75 Hard. It doesn't matter if you hire a fitness coach. It doesn't matter if you take these weight loss medications or whatever it is. If you aren't consistently looking forward, you're never going to maintain that progress.
Right.
And you're going to just revert back to, habits and lifestyles and ultimately, previously you were and how you felt, whether that was good or bad.
Right. And I think, thinking and, it evolves where you as a fitness coach or me as a, weight, like we have the things that we are doing. And I don't know what it was like when you started coaching, but half ago when we started the clinic, we just thought, yeah, we're gonna give, yeah, they're gonna come in and we're gonna give them the medications, they're gonna lose weight and they're gonna be happy and we're gonna be happy and
Yeah.
but then things come along, you realize, oh yeah, like a year later and so has come back because they've, you know, gained the weight again. And then, learn things and as you go along, you have to realize like or as wrong, you adapt and you change your outlook and how you're teaching or whatever. But like the that we're starting to do is rather than say, granted they like, what's your goal weight? How am I looking to lose? That's going to take about 6 months, but it almost needs to be like that question, that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
Because if your goal weight is 150 and you're at 180, like you could be down to 150 in 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
depending on, but then what?
Yeah.
And so that has to be the thing. And I think that's something that we've tried to shift our approach to, what we want the end result to be, not in 3 months or 5 months, but in 3 or 5 years, where do you want to
Yeah.
be? And it's, I'm sure same thing with your, your like, yeah, want to be. We need to start with that, not short term, but long term,
Yeah.
because it is a long term process.
Yeah. Well, I could do a better job at this when I hire or when I'm interviewing my clients to see if they're a good fit for me as a coach, right? But I always ask them, I'm like, what are your goals? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, tell me what you want to be. And the reason I made, and I said I could do a better job at thinking long term, more than 6 months, 12 months out. Most of my programs are 6 months, right? So I'm trying to, like, when I'm talking to clients, where do you want to get to, where are now, where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you envision? And then based on what they say and some of the other questions, follow-up questions, conversation we have, then I can determine, yeah, I feel like I'm a good fit. I can help you with that. Or, they have said, hey, listen, like, I think that we're a good fit based on what your goals are.
Right.
And long story short, there has to be more than a short-term goal or vision when it comes to fitness. And maybe we can end on this note, but that's the reality, right? Like, fitness is a lifelong journey. Wellness is a lifelong journey. Health is a lifelong journey. And you can't expect to reap the benefits of or have the longevity, the energy, or whatever of a healthy person if your mindset is so narrowly focused on, I just need to get to this, or I'm going to do this for 6 months or 3 months or whatever. Like, you have to look at it holistically and you have to say it's a journey, it's a process. And that hill, honestly, like going back to goals about whether, whatever are, like those goals, they're going to continue up and it's going to be an uphill battle, or you're going to fall off and you're going to revert back to where you were. One
Right.
thing that I had a friend who played Division 1, and one of the things that his high school coach always said was, or maybe it was his dad, either way, it doesn't matter. He said, you either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same.
Right.
You never stay the same. And I think with fitness and wellness and health, like that's the right. Like, it's hard to stay the same. And
Right.
I think the reason why, like, you can make, like, let me just backtrack for a second. You can maintain weight. If I'm, in body composition, I'm good with where I am. I'm good with my weight. There's a way where I can stay right where I am,
Right.
just maintain, right? And stay the same, more or less. But I think it's more than that, because it's like, I want to be better, whether that's more dialed with the foods that I'm eating, whether it's whole foods versus, I'm my macros, but I'm going out and I'm eating McDonald's 3 times a week or whatever, right? Like,
Right.
there's always ways to continue to progress and
Right.
do better with your life, your fitness, anything in life. And I think majority of people will get to a certain point and then they revert back. They don't want to continue that process, that journey. And I think it's a mindset thing, right? Like
Right.
you've talked a lot about mindset on your weight loss war podcast. And I think that is so important because it is mindset, it's determination,
Mhm.
it's dedication. And seeing having a vision of where you want to be, and then making sure that you can do the things that are required to get there, regardless of whether you want to do them or not.
Right.
Right. And I think that's where I'm kind of, I said wrap it up, but comes to mind motivation versus discipline, right?
Yeah.
Motivation's great, but it never lasts.
Right.
I could be motivated to get up and go to the gym for the next, 3 or 4, maybe even 3 or 4 weeks at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way, get it done, make sure that's important. But I'm relying purely on motivation. And my motivation could be I'm tired of being overweight, or I've got a trip coming up, or I'm doing this or whatever. Like that motivation always ends. Like it always the runs out, burns
Right.
out. And so then dedication is where like I don't like when my clients say I'm motivated to do this or do that. It's like, okay, motivations, are you disciplined?
Yeah.
Dedicated? Are you going to relentlessly pursue the goals that you have?
Right.
And yeah, so I think that's a. I mean, there's a lot that goes into your health and your fitness and feeling good about your body and feeling good physically and mentally and emotionally. But it all kind of starts with having that mindset and making sure that you're, that you know that like there's going to be a war, not a battle. There'll
Right.
be battles along the way. I may lose a battle, right? Like I may fall out of wagon for a minute and not hit my goals or gain 10 pounds because I did this or that. That's a little battle. Okay. It's a bump road. Great. All right. Don't beat yourself up about it. Maybe learn from it. What can I do differently? What if, the situation in the future, what am I going to do to make sure I don't fall into that?
Right.
And then move forward, and
Yeah.
keep that war. It's a journey. Like we said, it's a lifelong endeavor.
Yeah.
Being fit and being healthy is a lifelong endeavor.
It is. It never stops.
No.
And and really, and maybe let's truly end on this. The quality of your life later is going to depend on what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And so of being mindful now while you are able will have immeasurable results later in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just need to build that foundation and that discipline and shift the mindset and, you know, work at it. It is work. It's not easy. There are easier ways to do
Yeah.
things than to be the healthy, route to healthy route. But uh, you want your life to look like in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. One thing, as you were talking about, the longevity choices you make now, how they impact your future. It's like one thing I loved is you have to choose your hard, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to be mindful of what you're eating every day and going to the gym and not over. It's also hard to be overweight. It's
Yeah.
hard to not be healthy, right? And there's like that principle apply to every decision and every aspect of our lives, right? Like you have
Right.
to be hard. Nothing in life is truly easy, right? You think about your relationships, you think about your job, your career, friendships, your fitness, mental health, like everything that's worthwhile effort requires work. And a lot of times it's not fun, it's not easy. It is hard. But the alternative of, whatever it is of the goal you're trying to achieve, that's also going to be hard. And when you progress down the road of your life, right? And 15 years, you are, let's keep it fitness related. Let's say you wanted to lose 25 pounds this year. And that's hard. Say, in 10 now put on an additional 10 or 15 pounds. So you're up to 35, 45 pounds of excess body weight. That's also going to be hard.
Right.
Be hard on your body. It's going to be hard on your, like getting out of bed, climbing stairs, like playing with your grandkids. Like you have to check hard. And I think that's the one thing that has really resonated with me the last, several years. You choose your hard. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Nothing in life that's worthwhile comes easy. And you can either choose the hard now, or you can sit back and let life kind of happen to you. Then you're going to have to deal with the hard, whether you like it or not. You don't have a choice at that point.
Right.
So,
No, absolutely. Well, I think we'll leave it there. That was a good note to end on. But we appreciate all of you who are listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. And, you know, like we've past episodes, Brian is on Instagram. You can talk to him. He's at bfitsmith. Um, he posts content, does a lot of great stuff. He, has shirtless himself if you're into that thing. Um, my if you want to touch with me, I am the administrator of our Gmail, uh, behimfit@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram at theweightlosswarpodcast.com. That's where I post my content and everything. So if you want to please do, we are active on both of those platforms. And yeah, all
yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Trev. Appreciate it, buddy.
right, later, brother.
All right. See ya.